Hello everyone. This tutorial is about how to make more creative presentations using Google Slides. Now if I go from my Google Drive, I just click on New, I go down to Google Slides, and I can create one from a template if I already have one, or just create a blank presentation. So if I've done that, this is a blank presentation. One of the issues with Google Slides, both for teachers and for students, is that you are limited by the templates that you have over here on the right-hand side. So what you want your presentation to look like. And there are certain add-ons for this, but it seems as if Google Slides is limited compared with PowerPoint in this specific aspect. So one of the things that you can do, and this is a resource that I've mentioned before, is if you Google a website called Slides Carnival, if I go here, they have many different templates that I can choose from and insert directly into Google Slides. So if I look here at the top of the web page, I clicked all templates, so this shows all the different ones that they have. But they also have them by category, so you can say I have formal, inspirational, creative, simple, startup, elegant, playful, and business. And these are presentations that people have created using different graphic design programs and then inserted into a Google Slides presentation that you can then copy. So if I were to choose one of these presentations, for example, and I wanted that template in my Google Slides, when I click on it, if I go down, I can preview it up here, but if I go down here, I have two options: download as a PowerPoint template or use as a Google Slides theme. If I click on this, it's going to allow me to preview it and see what it looks like. And what's really nice about it is that it has a standard layout for all the different slides, but basically it's giving you a bunch of different things to choose from, so you can move the slides around, you can use a lot of the resources from certain pages and copy and paste them into other pages. But up in the upper right hand corner, if I press Use Template, what that's going to do is it's going to create a copy of this presentation in my Google Slides. So I've done that with one called Constant. It's one of the templates in there. And you'll see that if I go through here, it's much more dynamic than the themes that Google Slides comes with. So if we go down here, you'll notice every single, and you can modify this if you want to, they have stuff written in here, just as kind of an example. But you can change everything in here and you can reuse things, and most of the presentations come with a page that has numbers and graphs and little images of a phone or a computer. But you can move these things around. Even comes with emojis and stuff like that. But this is one way of you using a template that once I click on that, it becomes a part of my Google Drive. And I can just rename this, and then I can use that for my presentation after I've rewritten things that are on the slide. And I use this for many of my presentations in Theory of Knowledge just because it's very quick. It's super easy to do. And what's nice is once I have put one of these templates in my drive, then afterwards, if I'm in here, once I've added one of the slides templates to my Google Slides, then down in the bottom right hand corner, if I press on Import Theme, you'll see that I have this option for the one I was just showing you. So I can import the theme that I used on a prior presentation. So if I liked that Constance one, I can import that, select that. So once I've done that, you can see that it's added that template to this presentation now, just by pressing Import Theme. And if I go up here to where I add a new slide, it's going to be adding the same type of slide, but if I click on the arrow next to it, I can choose all the different types of options they have for different slides here. I can choose amongst them, depending on what I want for a particular slide. So if you're building a presentation from the ground up, this can be easier because you just go with the standard backgrounds that come with this theme. And then I can also adjust that from here. So that is one way that both you and students can create more effective presentations in Google Slides. And what I really like to do with this is once you have them in your drive, you can just reuse them by pressing Import Theme. And you can use any theme that you've used in the prior presentation. So that's really useful for me as a teacher, but also when I assign group projects, like I have my TOK presentation coming up. I share this strategy with students as well, just to have presentations that are more visually appealing to look at. And again, when students are working on this in the group project, for example, one of them can create this project in their Google Drive, and afterwards they can press share, and they can share this presentation to edit, this first option, with the other group members, and then they can work on the same presentation at the same time. And it's a nice group project to work on, especially in quarantine, because they can do this from their homes. And when you insert this into Google Classroom, you can go in at any time and see how they're doing, and see who specifically has done what by clicking on all changes saved in Drive, and I can see who did specifically what in the presentation and see if there were certain students that did a majority of the work and certain students that did a minority of the work. One more tool that I wanted to show you guys is Canva. And this is another one that I might have mentioned before, but to find Canva, it's just canva.com. You can set up an account for free, and most of the tools in Canva are available for free. You don't need to pay for anything, and it's an amazing graphic design program. So what's really nice about this is that if we're still talking about presentations, you'll notice that on the home page right here, I have this option to create a design. And all of these different designs here, if I were to click on one of these, it says thumbnail, card, poster, logo. That has to do with the dimensions of the template that you're selecting. And they'll give you a bunch of templates that are already done to choose from to modify if you want to, or you can make your own and go from a blank template. But they also have up here custom dimensions if you want specific dimensions for something. However, if we're using this for a presentation, you'll see that I have presentation right here. And if I click on that, it's going to start with a blank template. Now over here on the left-hand side, I have a bunch of presentations to choose from if I want to reuse a presentation that was done by somebody else. Similar to Slides Carnival, where it'll start off with stuff being written there and stuff already in the design. However, if you want students to work on their own, they just start, this is for a presentation again, they start with a blank canvas, and over here on the left-hand side, I have my tools, most of which are free that I can add to here. So basic presentation tools would be photos, for example, some of which are free, but when it has this little symbol here, that means that you need to pay for it. But students can upload from right here. They can upload whatever picture they want from their computer and use that in their design, and there won't be a watermark. If you use things that are that you need to pay for, suppose I'm going to click on one of these, for example, when I publish my design, I'm going to have that watermark that says Canva. But if you put your own image, you won't. So this is free. There's no watermark. Now, that's for images. If I want to put different design elements, they have lots of different things here. These grids and frames are ways for you to insert a picture that's inside a frame. So if I took this and I dropped that inside there, now I have a picture that's inside a frame. And I have shapes, and I have lines, and I have all different kinds of stuff that I can add in here. Foliage, and a lot of the stuff is free. Some of the stuff's paid for, but a lot of it's free. And what's really nice about Canva and why you can make this look so professional is I have two different shapes here that are the same. They're both circles. And what I can do, upper left-hand side, I can always change the color of these if I want to. What's great about Canva is that it is layered. So if I were to click on this shape, I can choose what its position is. So if I were to click on position and I want it to be behind this image, I just press backward, and when I do that, you'll see that now it is behind this image. And I can make it a little bit smaller if I want to. And it shows you with those little pink lines when it is centered. So now you can see that this is centered over this, and that it looks really nice when I combine those two things. And some of your students will come up with insanely creative ideas when they're using Canva. And one of the reasons why I'm showing you this is because students in 7th, 8th, and 9th grade for years have had practice with this. This is one of the applications that they learn how to use. So your students are familiar with how to use this program. I have tons of different elements that I can use in here that are free, but again, so this would be a free one, for example, and when I put anything in here, I could rotate it if I want it coming from the side, for example. So that's just peeking out from the side. I can change the colors, so I could make it different colors if I wanted to. And I can do that with any one of these different elements that I include. The one below that is text, and I can add, now a lot of these templates that are already in Canva come with text there. But if I press text, I can use ones that are already here that are combinations of different text, something already written. And if I do that, once I've added it, so you can see I put that there, Parmesan cheese, I could just change the writing that's there and put something that I want to put. But if I, instead of using that one that's already there, if I were to instead press add a heading, for example, or subheading, or a little bit of body text, that's going to have a set size that it adds. So let's say I put this here, and I want this to be black, let's say. Once I've added a heading, the only difference between these is the original size that is going to be copied therein. So if I were to change this size to, let's say, 72, it's going to get smaller. And again, I can use those pink lines to center this over there if I want to. And below that, background is just standard backgrounds. Some of these you need to pay for, but if I were to put a background, it's going to put something behind everything. So let's say I were to put this. That's going to put that image behind everything, or something a little bit nicer to look at. That's a little bit hard to see, but let's change this to white. And again, remember that I can, anytime I have one of these designs, if I want something over another thing, I can just layer it using that position button. And then something else I can do is I can change the transparency. And sometimes you want things to be a little faded. So this background image, if I don't want it to be so bright, I can change the transparency and it won't be as bright of an image. And I can do the same thing for my shapes if I want to, and make them a little bit less intense. And the last thing, so these are standard backgrounds. Again, if you go down, all of these are free, but you'll find ones eventually, if you're searching for a particular background, you'll find ones that are not free and that cost money. But most of the stuff in here is free, other than the photos, but you can get your own in Google. And what's really great about this is that I can insert these because I chose the template for a presentation. I can download this image and it's going to fit perfectly as the background of one of my slides. So if I were to be creating my slides in PowerPoint here, I can make my whole PowerPoint presentation here. So you'll notice I have, let's say, slide 1 right here. Down below this, you'll see that it says I can create slide 2, and it will automatically make a copy of the same background I used for slide 1. But I could change that if I wanted to. And once I'm done, once I've gotten my whole presentation in here, up in the upper right hand side there's this download button. If I click on that, I can download this. I would suggest as a PNG because it's a high quality image. I can download this as a PNG, and it's going to prepare my design, and then I'm going to see the download showing up down here. I just click on background. Where it says image, I press choose image, and then I need to browse for that file. Now, if they do the whole presentation, it's going to be in one of these zip files, and so you need to, and that's in my downloads, so I have this folder right here. This is Parmesan cheese because that's the font that we chose, but we can change the title. But if I download the whole presentation, it's going to be a collection of images. So first I need to open this compressed file, I need to extract the images, and then I can upload them. Now I've already extracted one of these so that we can use it. So it's number 1. And if I were to select this file, it's going to upload it, and then it's going to use that as a background. And you'll notice that we still have the stuff from the actual presentation here. But if I did the whole presentation in Canva, so I'm going to get rid of what was already there for the presentation, you'll notice that this fits perfectly. And it fits perfectly because I chose the template size that works with Google Slides. So now I can use exactly what I created. I know this isn't the prettiest design, but I can use exactly what I created in Canva as a part of my presentation. So that's another way for students to create presentations that are completely unique and a lot more visually appealing and interesting. And also for yourselves. And just like in Google Slides, students can share these presentations with others and work on them at the same time. So in the upper right hand corner next to the download button there's a share button. If I click on that, I can put the email of someone who I want to share this file with, either for them to view or for them to edit. And I can also generate a link to do the same thing. And if I were to copy this link and then send it through WhatsApp, for example, it would give somebody else with their Canva account access to edit the same design. So if students want to work on a project together in Canva, they could do the same thing. It's just that once they were done, when they're uploading this to Classroom as a part of the assignment, they need to go to the presentation, click on the background, and add their images slide by slide. Then one more thing that's really great about Canva is that it's not just for presentations. You can make very professional looking graphic designs to use for other things. So you'll notice some of the ones it has here, like card, poster, logo, and they have a ton of other ones that you can look at. But just as an example of other things, even desktop wallpaper, book cover, resume, and for each one of these they have examples of ones that are already done. But what's nice, even video for video advertisements. What's nice though is an example of where I've used it is in my YouTube. You'll notice that I have, especially the 3 newest ones that I've uploaded to the tutorial clips channel. The YouTube thumbnail is the picture that shows on your video before somebody actually watches it. And so I can create the perfect size thumbnail here, which I've done. So if I go to all my designs, if you look here, this is how I created the image that shows up on that video in my YouTube playlist. And so I just created this using that YouTube thumbnail template, and then it fits perfectly as a YouTube thumbnail. And it's something that I've created versus something that I tried to find in Google. And so just like with the other one, it's going to give me a ton of examples of ones that are already made. I have all of the same tools over here that I can use, and that allows me to make a YouTube thumbnail. But again, from home, I can choose many different dimensions for specific things and create those in a artistic and visually appealing and professional way using Canva. So that's one of the tools that I thought would be useful for both teachers and students in creating more effective presentations, but then also creating other things. I can imagine some projects being created in here, posters for classes, things like that. So if you have any questions about this, let me know. There are some more advanced things you can do in here to make it even look even more professional. But if you have any questions, let me know, and I can work with you one-on-one. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great weekend, and don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you guys for the next tutorial.